Happy Friday. I'm popping on here out of the blue. So many of my clients this week have brought to me some really interesting sharings and questions, and I wanted to talk to you about this doubt that kicks in as we are designing our life or designing our spaces, in the middle, in the beginning, at the end. There's just all these gates of fear and doubt that show up when we are giving birth to something. And I'm seeing it. I'm seeing some of my clients go through this as they're investing in their spaces, as they are designing their homes, as they are planting the intention they want for their life and expressing it and visualizing it and reminding themselves of that intention and vision through their physical space. And they are freaking the fuck out. And here's why I find it really just beautiful to reflect upon, right? And part of my job as a sacred designer is not just to make the choices of what materials, colors, furnishings we're using. Part of the job of a sacred interior designer is to understand that design, whether we're designing our life or our home, is a series of decisions that we make. And it's those small decisions layered upon each other that give us that ultimate vision, that give us that ultimate result that we want. And the reason why most people are not able to achieve that vision, like you may have tried do-it-yourself projects so many times, but then it doesn't turn out the way you envisioned it, it's because the vision might be there, the desire might be there, the dream space is clear in front of you, but you just don't know what steps to take to get there. And so how does that manifest when you're designing a space? And the reason I love the example of designing a space is, one, because it's what I do, but also because the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. And I see my clients' personalities, my clients' stories. I even see their trauma when they're working with me. And that sounds maybe bold, but I just see how it goes. I see what those gates of fear look like. And these gates of fear are actually, I learned through learning about conscious birth and preparing for my home birth and preparing for natural birth with both of my children. And I often talk about birth, but I realize it's been a while since I have, and I love that it's coming up. So here's what those gates of doubt look like. You're doing great, you're writing the contractions, you're excited to meet your baby, you might even be experiencing an ecstatic state of excitement, right? This is also what happens when we're starting to work together designing your space. It's exciting to look at the Pinterest pictures. You want to see all the cute little things for the nursery, right? You love the fabrics and the colors and the lighting. And that sounds beautiful and it's great and it keeps the energy and the momentum going. But when things get hard, when challenges arise, when the contractions get more painful, when maybe the baby's heartbeat isn't doing as great as it should be, or when maybe you're feeling really nauseous because there's something to be released, or in terms of space design, if there's plumbing issues that out of the blue came out, or lighting issues like the junction box turned out not to be centered with the table, a real story that's happened yesterday, or the wallpaper can't be installed the way we want it because the pattern isn't going to fall together the right way, or the texture of the wall isn't going to work for the wallpaper we got. There's all these little nuances and obstacles that will show up. And what I have seen is that there's two kinds of people, and this isn't about judgment at all. It's just about awareness and about bringing to you the understanding that doing something as simple as designing a space speaks a lot about who we are. And so if we are creating a space, a home with intention, we want to pay attention to these things. And so the way my clients will react upon these obstacles is, one, they either freak out completely, right? Like nothing's going right. This is a time where they're going to be upset. Maybe they're going to be angry towards contractors or designers. This is a time where maybe they're going to second guess themselves and kind of clam up and not want to move forward with the design. Maybe they're not always honest to say, I'm feeling scared, I'm feeling nervous. They're just like putting a wall up and not moving forward with the project. And so the project stays stagnant for longer than it needs to because they're not being, in a space of making a decision. It is all about making these decisions. Can we turn the table parallel instead of vertical? That's a decision. Can we have the lighting off center instead of centered? That's a decision. Should we just swap this wallpaper for that? Should we just paint the wall instead of wallpapering it? There's so many possibilities when these obstacles come. But a lot of times we don't need to go into the decision making right away because this creates this reactivity, and it again manifests as second guessing the initial vision, the initial intention we had for our birth, right? For something we're giving birth to, as a child. In birth, this manifests as freaking out. You had this vision of not wanting anesthesia, Samantha, not wanting anesthesia, and then you just wanted a epidural really bad, or you had committed to having a certain kind of experience, and then at the last minute you just backed out of it because you got afraid, and maybe you're not going to do that after all because your partner said something, or the nurse said something, or the plumber or the painter said something. I love my painters. I love painters. They make life so amazing and they make these rooms come together, but I do not like it when they try to give clients design advice when they're not the designers. That's another story. My point is that these moments of doubt come to test us, right? They test the relationships that we are having with people around us. So they test our relationships as a designer, for me, with clients, right? Because I have to listen, right? I choose to listen and I want to hold space for them. And I also want to be able to direct them in the direction, or take them in the direction that we had initially worked really hard to create, and not just out of reactivity completely change the path. So you guys following? So these moments of doubt show us the opportunity to recommit to the vision we had. Sure, there's a way to pivot, right? There's a way to be flexible and adapt. But there's other times where instead of changing everything, we just get an opportunity to stand by our vision and hold the pose. It's like the yoga of design. Hold the pose, right? Stay committed to, I want that wallpaper, right? And so how do we make that happen? What needs to happen for that to be on that wall? And I'm just giving an example, but in life, we are doing the same thing. The journey of life that we are living day to day ultimately can lead us to the design of life we want. But if we're not, one, creating that vision of what we really want and tuning into the momentum of what we really are desiring first, then all the steps to get there are going to be even more confusing. If we do have a clear vision and a clear design of what we want, then when things get hard and those gates of fear show up, and doubt and self-sabotage and all the things that come up, then we just know that instead of being afraid and focused on this future vision and worrying about it, or going back to all the times where it did not work, we just come back to this present moment to make this decision right in front of us. So many times I guide my clients to come back. We don't need to worry about the accessories right now. Like, we're working with the foundation of the home first. We don't even need to go there. We have a general vision of what we want. We know what we desire, how we want to feel, what we want to do in our life and in our space. And so trust that each step we take will take us there. Sometimes slow, sometimes faster. The rhythm of our own design of life and our own design at home is unique to each of us. And there's no need to focus so much on the outcome. It is way more enjoyable, way more revealing, way more pleasurable when we can be in the moment as it is right in front of us. So I just had that musing reflection today after working with a couple of clients this week who had some hiccups in their designs, who had some challenges in their designs, and who were able to pivot so beautifully to, you know, deal with them and to you know, commit to the vision they had for their room, for their life, because they're not just designing a dining room and a library and a family room. These are spaces where they have envisioned a fuller, bigger intention. This is the space where they want to finally write the book they've been dreaming of writing for the last 20 years. This is a space where they finally are going to gather with family that they haven't seen in years. This is the space where they're finally going to be holding their baby that they've been longing for so long. Or this is the space where they're moving into after loss and grieving their beloveds and their family member that died. And they're going to be able to go through that transition of life in this womb-like space of the home. And so that's the big picture I want you to tune into. If you notice that you are procrastinating finishing a project, or that you are allowing the obstacles that are getting in your way to completely derail you from what you want, it's okay to take a pause. It's okay to not do anything. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to completely switch style, colors, ideas, fucking change it all if you need to, and if that's what's really calling you for. But don't do it out of fear. Don't do it out of worry. Don't do it out of anxiety. Don't do it out of scarcity. And you know, just remember why you fell in love with doing this in the first place. And I feel like if we could all remember that today, our designs of life and our designs of home and our designs of our temples would be that much more meaningful and would encourage us to stay in this very moment longer. So that's what I wanted to share with you all. Happy Friday.